think in business it's really important to think about alternative ways of getting the same thing done. And I always feel like business problems are like a puzzle. The answer is in front of you. The question is how you put that puzzle together to get the right answer. So it's January of 1999. Our biggest competitor, Autoweb, is about to go public. They have filed for their IPO. Now that was devastating to us because we wanted to go public before them. Whoever would have gone public in that horse race would have been able to set the stage for that newly defined industry, selling cars online. They had filed for an IPO before us, which meant they would go public before us. And that was devastating. So the night of the IPO, we're sitting and we're thinking, what are we going to do? How are we going to get ahead of them? A great idea came to mind. Now there's like a bunch of us sitting together and having this conversation. The idea was that, well, people file internet companies as technology businesses. Well, if you think about SEC, they have different offices for technology, for farming, for whatever. They have different offices that people, when they file, their filing for IPO goes through those offices. Why not file as an automotive company? After all, we're an automotive company. And guess what? There were no automotive companies going public. So we did exactly that. They responded to us immediately because the guy responsible for that desk had no other files. The guy responsible for the technology IPOs had a lot of IPOs piled up on his desk. So we got response back from SEC. We got through that government hurdle much quicker, and we were able to go public a few days prior to Autoweb, and we set the stage for the pricing, for valuation, for multiples, and so on. So one of the most amazing experiences of my life, of course, was the day that the company went public. Autoweb went public. March 23rd, 1999 was the day. Now, the night before that, we had a meeting with our bankers. So this is what happens. When you plan to go public, you decide how many shares you're going to sell. We had decided we're going to sell 5 million shares. We had decided that we're going to sell the shares between $12 and $14 a share. Well, the night before the IPO, the bankers will present you the book. They'll tell you basically what does the demand look like in the market for that security. And it turned out that there were buyers for 95 million shares of Autoweb, but we had only 5 million shares to offer. So we agreed to price at 14, the high end of the range. And the next morning, it would mean that the company would go public at 14. And at 14, the math would be done for the money that the company would receive, the cash. So the morning of the IPO, the first thing that you do is you go to the trading floor. And it's a really phenomenal experience because you see all the TV screens. They have people, reporters talking about what securities are being issued that day, and you see your company on the screen over and over again because IPOs are a big deal and the news covers them. And there's anticipation. The market opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, but the new issues don't start trading till a bit later in the day. But there are trades that are happening or getting built up before the market actually opens for that new security. And it's a loud floor. There are offers that are coming in, and it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal experience to see that people are just calling in and placing massive orders for your security, the security you're about to issue. We opened at $27 a share. We had priced at 14, at almost double the price. And our next stop was Nasdaq. The company had gone public on Nasdaq. So again, it was an amazing experience to go to Nasdaq and just experience what happens there. And of course, lots of interviews were happening there, and the market was interested to find out where this new company is headed and why they should be investing in it and so on. That day, the stock closed at 45, and which was just a phenomenal valuation for that business. It was higher than it should have been, frankly. I think that the IPO price was a fair price. But then once you go public, the rest of it is not up to you, it's up to the market and lots of day traders back then. So the price probably had gone much higher than it should have been. The next day, the price hit 50 and the market cap hit $1.2 billion. I remember after the IPO, my brother and we boarded United Airlines, and I opened up Wall Street Journal, and it was a phenomenal experience to see the headline saying that Autoweb is worth more than Rolls-Royce. It was true, Rolls-Royce had just been sold for $500 million and Autoweb was worth twice Rolls-Royce. Now, that is the American dream. That only happens in America. And in what other place on the planet, two refugee brothers can show up and 10 years later can have that kind of an experience. Now, of course, along the way, hopefully, I like to think, we create opportunities for others. And if you look at the people who went through Autoweb and what they ended up doing, today the CMO of Subaru who was our marketing manager. One of the marketing managers another marketing manager at Autoweb became the founder of Zappos. And there were many other companies that came out of that team that were the early employees of that business. And I feel that we really started not just a business, but we probably became this learning ground, this place that allowed a lot of other people have the opportunities and experience to go out and start their own businesses, their own enterprises, and become massively successful in whatever they picked on. So it's really fulfilling to go through that kind of a process and see what comes out of the other end.